Chapter 5 Black Leaders. The black leaders that I started with were Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Jesse Jackson, and Martin Luther King. I also studied the Rastafari movement. The Rastas were freedom fighters. They introduced me to Marcus Garvey because of his Jamaican heritage. I was really into Malcolm X. Malcolm's teacher was Elijah Muhammad. So because of him, I started to learn about his life. Then I started to learn about Jesse Jackson, who was a political leader as well as a reverend. When I did some research on Martin Luther King, it seemed that he quoted the Holy Bible a lot. So I thought when I study him, I probably would just have to read the Bible. Since Malcolm X was Muslim, he got me thinking about Islam and the Quran. Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King were Christians, so they got me thinking about the Bible. During this time, I also studied the Black Panther Party. I was really fascinated by the organizational ability of the Panthers. They were fighting against police brutality. When I turned about 15, I started to notice how the police would like to harass us for nothing but just being black. So I had my own experience with that as well. That's just how it was. And it was good to see a black organization fighting back. It did not end well for the Panthers though. Many were killed or put in prison. As far as the black leaders go, they all were met with opposition from the government. As we know, Malcolm and Martin were both assassinated. Marcus Garvey had his own battle with the government and believed in black nationalism. Blacks having power politically, economically, and socially. That has always stuck with me, that we as blacks should strive for these powers in America. But blacks seem so divided, and it seems orchestrated as well. Some are woke, but many are asleep, falling for the devil's traps of black-on-black violence and destruction. Martin Luther King was the one I did my last study on. I thought King spoke with power. His words were mostly biblical. I would have to give him the credit for giving me a desire to read the Bible. Now I turned 20 and I'm done with my studies of black leaders and have now gained a desire to learn about God. I really didn't know much of anything. I remember one time a guy from the neighborhood, Nate Johnson, preached to us about God in the last days. But I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. But I never forgot that.